Welcome to the Austin Method, where we help you develop the skills of square dancing. Square dancing as a topic is big. This program is divided into the individual videos covering the calls, and then there are the general information videos. This video is part of the general information videos. You can think of them as reference material. Don't think of them as prerequisites. Some of them are longer and you're wanting to dance, so you may not want to watch from beginning to end. If you've got time, it's well worth the watch, but if you're in a hurry, go ahead and move on to learning the calls. There are two videos I would think of as prerequisites. That's the learning and practice video. That gives you tips and tricks and helps you organize your learning. It'll give you the most efficient way to maximize your learning of the skills of square dancing. The second one, it's the site walkthrough, and it'll show you how to navigate this website, how to find the pieces and parts you may be looking for. Those two are prerequisites. Otherwise, if you want to move on to the skills of square dancing, go ahead. But if you got the time, this is some great material. If you don't, make sure you come back as you get further into it. Come back to these materials and go over them. Even if you go through them at the beginning, come back to them, because as you gain vocabulary, you will get more from it in a second viewing as you get further along. So without any further ado, let's get to the video. Welcome to the site walkthrough. So we thought we'd give you a little tour of the site so you know where the pieces and parts are and what's available to you as resources. So let's look at one of the sessions as an example. So this is a typical session, and it's got several sections on here. Let's start at the top with the menus. So up here at the top in the bar, this button will always take you back to the Introduction to Square Dancing and the Austin Method. If you haven't been there, check it out. Kind of gives you a sense of what square dancing is and what this program's all about. Here we have the master menu. This has all the calls in alphabetical order. Each number represents where it is in the program. The 4s are part of the 4-couple portion. The 200s are part of the 2-couple portions, and the 100s are part of the 1-couple portions. Right now, we're going to look at 101 face, which is part of the 1-couple material, which you would find under this submenu for 1-couple. We're not going to talk about the actual contents of these menus right now. We're just kind of showing you how to navigate it. So make sure you check out that Introduction to Square Dancing and the Austin Method again here, but we'll just show you what the submenus are right now. This is a section where 2 couples can do a fun night. It's instruction and dance all in one. It's a lot of fun. It's typically meant to have square dancers let square dancers show their friends what square dancing's all about. This is the general info sub-menu, which again has that Introduction to Square Dancing and TAM, or the Austin Method. It has a bunch of other things in it that are extremely useful but not absolutely necessary to get started, including this, the site walkthrough. And then we have our 1-couple sub-menu, 2-couple sub-menu, our 4-couple sub-menu, and a 4-couple fun night. I'm not going to get into that here, but what that is also covered in the Introduction to the Austin Method. And then, of course, we have our About the Site and credits and how you can help us keep this going. Additionally, up here on the menu bar, we have a Previous and Next button, which will take you through the program incrementally. So we're on 101 face. This takes you to 102, you turn back, 103. Pretty obvious there. And then the previous takes you back to the previous one. So it's just another way to navigate through without having to pull down the submenu and figure out where you are. So let's talk about the body of the website, which is where the material is presented. There's a section here that talks about the pieces and parts of the call, how many beats, whether it's gender specific, whether frame plays a part, things like that. This link takes you to the official definition. We're going to click on that real quick. Now it opens as a separate tab. That's on purpose so that you can go back and forth between the sequence you're trying to work on and the definition to try and figure out what it is about the definition or the sequence that you may or may not be understanding. So it allows you to flip back and forth. Here on the left, we have the section that is the actual textual definition, but these definitions were written by callers for callers. So they can be very technical and not particularly useful, but sometimes you can glean some really good stuff out of them and they can be extremely useful. So always worth a read. Take a look, but don't get wrapped around the axle if you can't work them out exactly, because we're here to help you through the definition. Over here on the right, we have different calls or versions of the call. So face left from, and then different formations, face right from, different formations. These are just different variations and examples for you to be able to look at. What I really want to go into here is this central section, the animation. So right now we're looking at face your partner from facing couples. So it should be pretty obvious that these two are connected. They're partners in a normal couple. Face your partner is pretty much just what you'd expect. But you can hit play, and at normal speed, they will face their partner. After you've been doing this for a while, that tends to be a little too slow, so there's a fast button, and you can hit play, and they'll do it fast. If you want to, in a long sequence, look at something in specific, you can drag the slider and say, okay, what are they doing? That's what they're doing. Okay, great. These other buttons, grid, it literally applies a grid. It's not particularly useful unless you're writing choreography, but it's there. We've put the caller here because it's very important where the caller is, because we label these with numbers. Couple number 1, missing in this particular facing couples formation is couples number 2 and 4, but the 1 and 3 are called heads, and couple number 1 always has their backs to the caller. So that's how you know who's number 1. So you have to know where the caller is. If you want to go back to normal, you just turn the word fast off. I think of these as baseball cap visors. They're facing each other. That's what those are. They're their faces. They're their baseball caps. So you know which way they're going. I'm not going to cover paths here. It's kind of advanced and we left it in for you to use and play with, but it has no bearing on what we're doing here. So we're going to go back to the session here. We just walked through the definition, and you may or may not spend some time in there with those different formations. It's useful, informative stuff sometimes. Sometimes you'll go in and say, huh? And come back and we'll help you through the definition. This link is called Guidance. This is the video where we walk you through everything to get through the dance sequence. So we walk you through the definition, we walk you through the gotchas, the tips and tricks, the things to keep an eye on. So that's what the guidance video is. Dance sequence is a sequence that we provide of choreography that demonstrates the call that we're working on. It's the sequence that allows you to practice it and explore it and work through how to do the different calls. This link actually takes you to people doing the sequence. The sequence is the same as over here on the left. The words you see may not be quite the same because there are alternate phrasings for the calls, but the calls are the same. This animator is called Taminations, and it requires very specific wording that may not be used for the humans all the time. So that's what the dance sequence is. The audio player here will play just the audio for that, so you can just get up and try this stuff after viewing it. The savable audio plays it on whatever local audio player you have on your computer and allows you to save it there by doing like a save as. Let's look at the animation real quick. The controls are the same as they are in the definition. They're exactly the same. You've got the fast, slow, the grid, which will turn off, the numbers. You notice there were facing couples in the definition. On this website, when we're dealing with one couple, so that you can focus on the couples that we're asking you to be, we've actually hidden couple number 3 here and just showing couple number 1. But if you turn on the numbers, they kind of magically reappear. Using the slider, you can go through the calls. So face your partner, boys face left, girls face right, face your partner. You can see it goes through the list of choreography on the left as you slide across, and you can see what's going on. It also has the command being executed at the top. This number over here is the number of beats we are into the choreography. Just in case you're curious, it doesn't really play a big factor. It can be useful. So this entire piece of choreography is 13 beats, which is about 6.5 seconds. Pretty small, pretty compact. And one more thing to show you. Over here we have the clear button, and you're going to be tempted to push it. Somebody's going to push it, and you're going to say, what happened to my choreography? It's okay. Just hit the refresh button for the website, and it'll come back. If you want to play around, though, and write your own choreography, you can hit clear. And if you learn the calls or pay attention to the URL up there in the address bar, you will see the shortcuts, or you can type out face your partner. You can type out face in. You can type out forward and back. You can write your own choreography. Just a little fun there. Then you can hit clear. You can refresh the site. You actually don't have to hit clear to refresh the site, but that's what the clear button is. Don't panic. Thank you for visiting the Austin Method. We hope to see you on the dance floor soon.